Hi guys, time for a build on this. Nice and straightforward. To open the Wraith, all you've got to do is turn it fully anti-clockwise, looking down at the top of the device. It won't come undone when you turn it fully anti-clockwise. It'll hit a stop. Fully intentional, designed to stop any inadvertent detachments, shall we say. Once it's in that fully anti-clockwise position, turn it back clockwise just a little bit, and you'll feel it kind of click, and then the whole top comes off. Nice and easy. So, next port of call is the Wraith has slotted grub screws. I've chosen this because I believe they last a bit longer. I'm going to use a screwdriver today with a 1.5mm blade width. This is the one I've chosen. If you're into screwdrivers, love these things. I'm going to get in and I'm going to undo the little... I'll try and do this in view for you. I apologise if I go out of shot. Sometimes I have to. It's very hard to do all of these bits with the lights and the camera. I'm just going to open up the little channels for the wire. Already done this one. All good. Now I'm going to take my coil. My choice of coil is a 0.32 Canthol. About 5 or 6 wraps. 3mm ID. Nothing too exciting, but it worked for me for years, so I'm sticking with it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put them legs down. And I'm going to put the coil on top of the air insert. Now I apologise here, this is possibly the hardest thing for me to do on camera. But I'm going to keep the wire, try and show you, oops. Yeah, so I've got the wire, I'm going to try and keep it halfway in that slot, because this is a thin wire. If you've got a Clapton or a thicker wire, life's going to be super easy, you're going to have to bung it in and do it up. But the thinner wires require a little more precision. Now you'd excuse me if it goes out of shot here. I simply can't do this in shot. There's too many cameras and lights and all the other funny paraphernalia that goes with. And there we go. Right, so I've popped them back on. Nice and straightforward. I've tried to keep these thin wires in the centre as much as possible so they're gripped well. I've only snugged them up so I can get in here now. Give them a good tighten down, make sure the wire's not going anywhere. And I'm also going to clean up, because I did it with a coil guide. I'm sure lots of you use a coil guide and that'll make your life a lot easier. I just find it easier without a coil guide on this one, to be honest with you. So you do what's easiest for you. And I'm just going to get in and straighten the coil up. And I'm actually going to lift this coil off the deck. I'll try and get you to see this one here. I'm not sure if it's better on a white background. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can see the coil is now clear of the air hole and ready to rock and roll. Now you can, if you like, especially if you've got a big set of cutters, you can get in nice and, sorry, a big set of big wire or something, you need cutters. You can get in there. I've allowed enough room for a little bit of the wire to stick out, but not a lot. All right, it mustn't stick out sort of beyond, you can see the circle of the insulators a little bit bigger, but I've trimmed it off nice and flush, nice and straightforward. The same on this side. You can wiggle them off as well. That's probably my preferred technique because it's a nice straightforward way of making sure it's all in place. But I'll use the wire cutters today to show you how easy it is. Pop them there. Okie dokie. So that's the coil ready now. Next part is the wick. So, set of scissors and the wick. I'm going to trim it off. I've used just a piece of Muji out of the tin. That's my preference. I know you've got lots of different ones, but certainly my recommendation is always going to be the Muji that is in the tin. To make life a bit easier for you on how wide I cut this, it's about 12mm arguably. So you can go there. I reckon anywhere between sort of 10 to 12mm is going to be good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, if you can see this, the very bottom layer off of the cotton and the very top layer, if I can get it. I didn't peel very easily that side, so I'm going to come back and do the other end, and then I'm just going to peel it off, put them aside. And that, I only do that really because it allows me to get a sort of a good thickness of cotton, which I like to use in these devices. And I'm going to really twist the end of this up now. Now please notice I've only twisted one end of it, the rest of it's all left fluffy. And then I'm going to go straight through the coil. And as I go through this coil, I'm going to twist it in the same direction as I originally twisted the cotton. I'm going to put my finger in there and I'm going to pull it through. Nice and straight forwards. You can dry burn your coil as well if you want to level it all up and get it nice and even, but I'm sorry, I've done this so many times, I'm pretty certain that's going to work fine for me. There we go. And I've pulled it straight past the twisted area. The twisted area in this one finishes sort of here, and it's gone through, so I've got a nice fluffy piece of cotton, but without having to fluff it, if you're with me, because most of my devices enjoy a nice dense wick. To cut it off, I'm going to cut it just a tiny bit more than the width of the atomizer, okay? And then same thing with this one. Straight in here. Give it a little snip. And then I'm just going to check whilst I've got it that you can see these edges are going to come down, and the cotton, the base of the cotton is actually going to sit nicely on the base of the wells there, okay? Pretty straightforward. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the cotton wet. I'm going to fluff them up just because it makes life a bit easier to get the juice in. That's where things get a bit mucky. Got a nice bit of custard here, been saving this one. Feel like we need some interlude music for this bit. There we go. Nice. And done them. So what I'm going to do now for this bit, which I always prefer to do, I'm going to put my screwdriver underneath and then I'm going to fold the wicks over with my thumbnail. It's up to you if you want to do that. Make sure you wash your hands, obviously, before and after. Same thing again. Pop them in there. Naughty little bit came out. I'm going to tuck that back in. That's pretty much it. Take the top, put the top back on. Now, if you have any problems fitting the top at this point, it might be that your cotton has got into one of the little holes. But mine's here. Screw it on nice and tight. Just going to get a cloth to wipe it all down, and then it's just a matter of filling it up. So here we go. So now almost at the best bit. To fill it up, my advice, okay, it'll become a lot easier if you've got a mod on because you can hold it, but it's to hold the tank first and then turn the ring. It's much easier if you do this. If you hold just try and turn the ring, you may inadvertently turn the connector inside the tank. The movement of this is less than the tank, just to make you aware. And when you do it up, regardless of that, it will always tighten the tank up for you. But nice and straightforwards. Now, quick little tip for filling for you. This bottle has a nice thin nozzle. I don't recommend you go straight in, because if you go straight in, that little nozzle will just hit the chamber, the outside of the chamber, and you probably won't get juice in very easily. I recommend tipping it down and to the side slightly, and then you'll see it flows in nice and easy like that. If you've got a bottle with a big fat nozzle on it, like a Grant's bottle or something like that, nice and straightforward, you can just bung it up against that and fill up. I highly recommend you fill this device vertically, and I don't recommend, you can put a bit more in here than I have, but I wouldn't recommend, as soon as that bubble disappears here, stop, because you've got a hole on this side to let the air out and a hole on this side as your juice goes in, and if you overfill it, juice will come out, so you know you've filled it to the max. There we go. Turn that back, again holding the tank, turning it back all the way, and then it's just a matter of chucking it on a mod and enjoying your vape. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you're all enjoying your race.